What's up, guys? My name is Zach, and today I am driving a 1996 Cadillac Fleetwood Limousine. Up front is a 5.7-liter V8, and down below is a 4-speed automatic transmission. Now, I am super excited to be driving this limo because it's actually on my bucket list to review a limousine. I've never reviewed one before, and we are breaking the record today for most doors in one review because this is a 6-door limousine. So I am so excited to share this oddity with you today and what it's like to drive a 96 Cadillac limo. But if you would like to share your vehicle with me and have it reviewed here on the channel, you can head on over to my website, zackpradel.com/submit. It's a quick and easy submission form, takes under a minute to fill out, and I come out to you. But let's get back to that 5.7-liter V8 under the hood, making about 280 horsepower. Well, it is the LT1 from GM. We saw this in a lot of the B-body vehicles, so the Buick Roadmaster, the Caprice, and of course the Cadillac Fleetwood, but also the Corvette, although it got a slightly more powerful variant. These engines are pretty reliable. The ignition system seems to be the weak point on this particular limo, but nothing too horrendous. Now, like I said, paired to it is a 4-speed automatic transmission, and it's fine. It's doing the job. It's hauling around this nearly 23-foot vehicle, and so I don't have any worries about it. Last but not least, this is rear-wheel drive, as the Fleetwoods of the era were. So how does it feel to drive a Cadillac Fleetwood limo? Well, in all honesty, yes, you do have to mind the length, because this is an incredibly long automobile. But once you're not taking sharp corners, it drives like a normal Fleetwood. Honestly, looking forward, I can't tell the difference. It's like driving any other B-body. It doesn't feel that different. And it doesn't have that weird sort of tugging feeling when you drive a really long vehicle where when the back wheels hit something, it sort of tugs back at you. You don't really get that in the Fleetwood limo. It's interesting, maybe because the ride is so cushy. So honestly, all is right in the world. I really thought it was going to be more daunting than it is, but it's not more daunting than it is. Words. So with that stuff out of the way, let's talk about the interior. Well, in front of me, I do have a completely digital gauge cluster along with my trip set, things like that, what gear I'm in. And I love these digital clusters in these cars. From this era, I've driven a few. However, the owner says that in direct sunlight, it is absolutely unreadable. So we actually hooked up an old LG phone to the dash to keep an eye on the speed. The steering wheel is the big pillowy sort from the 90s. We're very used to this at this point here on the channel. Big, bulbous, and bloated, much like the adjectives that were shouted at me in high school. Off to the left, we do have the climate control vent, headlight switches, and the Twilight Sentinel. That's the auto headlights. And then we have an interesting switch. This is new to me. This is for the rear heat and cooling for the back because it is so large. It has its own system, and that's controllable off to the left right here. Moving on to the door, we have a grab handle, lock and unlock, latch to get in and out, and of course the power mirrors and power windows, along with the power seat adjustments. Again, typical of a B-body from GM. They have the seat adjustments on the door rather than on the seats themselves. Moving into the center, we do have a little climate control station, if you want to call it. Fan speed, econ, auto, that sort of thing. Then we do have an aftermarket radio because every radio from this era is pretty terrible. And of course, we do have an ashtray down below. No center console, and we don't have any cup holders up front, meaning the 1996 Cadillac Fleetwood limo fails the big friggin' bottle test. Now, the seats are incredibly comfortable, and let's be honest, to be expected. It is a bench seat up front, so this is a 9-seater automobile, and that starts off with the front bench. However, let's talk about those 2 more rows and 4 more doors here in the Cadillac Fleetwood limo. All right, so we're in the second row of the Fleetwood limo, and the legroom is a dangerous amount. It is so comfy and so spacious. Now, this one has subwoofers in the floor, but I could fully stretch out my legs and not touch anything. That is fantastic. I do have ashtrays in the door, power windows, power locks, and like I mentioned, up to the left of the steering wheel, I do get my own heat and air conditioning back here, which is fantastic. This is also a 3-person bench, and the one behind me is a 3-person bench, but this is just insane. But now, For the first time in shooting cars history, you're gonna watch it live, even though there's a really loud train behind me. I'm gonna get out and go to the third set of doors. Wow, this is just, ladies and gentlemen, this is a first. Oh my goodness. As it sounds like the train is derailing behind me, it actually did stop. Y'all okay? I am now in the third row of a vehicle, which isn't new, but I get my own door. This is crazy. This feels like the backseat of a normal Fleetwood. Super comfortable, tons of leg room. I have the vents over my shoulders. I have these little lights, coat hangers, all this stuff. This feels normal, but there's so much car in front of me. Really, really unique. Now, this vehicle, I'll touch on it later, was used for funerals. This was the family car. This is why the seats are both facing forward. Now, if this was a more traditional party limo, there would probably only be two doors still, but this seat would be flipped around and up against the back of the front seats, so then it's more conversational, it's more fun, and the life of the party. This wasn't meant to be the life of the party. This was meant to be comfortable transportation to the graveyard. So something to note there, but very interesting, super comfortable. You could probably fit a fourth row in here if you wanted to cut down on leg room, but I do not. I am pleasantly enjoying this. This is just wickedly cool. Let's hop out. We'll take a quick look at the trunk and cargo space, and then we'll talk about the looks. All right, around the back of the Cadillac Fleetwood limo. God, look all the way up there. Anyway, circle key for the trunk, square key for the ignition. We know this at this point, but GM was doing two different keys at the time. Pop this up, you do get a full-size spare, of which the owner actually took off the original white walls because they are so prone to getting flats due to gravel. So if you live in like a rural area, you cross a lot of gravel, white walls are not your friend. So anyway, just a little note, but full-size trunk, full-size spare. Very, very cool in the back of the Cadillac Fleetwood limo. Now we gotta talk about the looks, and to me, I love this era. It's a rather timeless era of car design and GM vehicles, in my opinion. I think that they're really good looking, and there is that sort of warm sense of nostalgia when I see these. You know, I was born in 97, 1 year after this was built, and so I saw these all growing up. I'm sure when my great-grandmother passed in 99, or when my great-grandfather passed, I'm sure this vehicle was used because this was a funeral car. This was not the hearse. This would follow the hearse and bring the families from the church to the cemetery, or cemetery to the funeral home, things like that. This was made to shuttle the living while following their past relative. Speaking of which, this was built by Eureka, the Eureka Coach Building Company. Now, the reason I point that out is because most of these that you'll see were built by Federal. Federal was a very big coach builder of the era and built a lot of limos, ambulances, things like that. So this is actually a Eureka limo, not a Federal, which I find kind of interesting. But with all of that being said, let's get on to my final thoughts. What do I think finally driving a limousine here on the Shooting Cars channel? Well, it's been such a cool experience that I've really, truly loved. I love the fact that it has 6 doors. I think that's the coolest thing in the whole wide world. It's comfortable, it's classy, and it's just so interesting to me because this is one of those utility vehicles, but it also has a certain class to it. You know, the people that rode in the back of this were probably going through one of the hardest days of their lives. They're emotionally distraught. They're going through something that no human being ever wants to go through. And so it would have been easy to drive them all to the funeral home or to the cemetery in a Toyota Camry. Probably would have been more fuel efficient to do so. But no, this coddled them. This comforted them when they needed it the most. And that's what I love driving an older vehicle like this, and such a classy and useful vehicle. I feel as though this limo is reaching out to me and saying, you know, it's gonna be all right. You just gotta get through today. That's it. That's all you need to do, is just get through today, and the rest will be cake. And you know what? The rest of life isn't cake. The rest of life also sucks too. But don't overwhelm yourself with that. Just worry about making it through today. And that's what the Cadillac Fleetwood limo helps you achieve. It just helps you get through today. Tomorrow's gonna be a new battle, but today will be all right. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Huge thank you to Denver for letting me take out his Cadillac Fleetwood limo. This was such a cool bucket list item for me, to drive a limousine. So cool. Denver's been absolutely awesome to work with, and I appreciate him very, very much for reaching out. But I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Don't forget to rate the video, comment on the video, and subscribe if you really liked it. Take care, guys.